So, okay, it is Sunday. I was gonna lie and pretend like it was Friday and that I just posted this late, but it is in fact Sunday. I'm still CJ. I am really late to this. I know. But I really wanted to talk about it because we're talking about public speaking, and I guess I have two. One very selfish reason for wanting to talk about this, and then one like slightly nagging father figure for you. First of all, I love public speaking. I love speaking in front of people. I want to be an educator. I want to talk with people and facilitate conversations that aren't happening. That being said, if any of you are around West Yorkshire on the 18th or the 19th of November, the Wow Fest is taking place in Bradford this year, and I've been invited to be one of the panellists there. So if you're around, come out, come say hi. That would be amazing. It should be a really fun conversation, I think. I'm on the transgender tipping point. I feel like they either call it the tipping point or the trigger point, and I can't remember which, but I remember both of them feeling equally badass in a way that I'm probably going to disillusion them slightly when I turn up. Anyway, that is something that I'm doing. And that's wraps in really nicely with the thing I really want to talk about today, which is public speaking and why it matters. I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with the idea of public speaking. I am really lucky. Like as a kid, I did things like debate team and all of that kind of stuff. Like I was that kid, you know what I mean? I'll surprise exactly none of you, but I was definitely that kid. And I think public speaking and knowing how to speak publicly are so important, because if we don't speak for ourselves, other people are going to keep speaking for us. And I have a really big problem with that. I'm tired of these narratives that exclude us. I'm tired of these stories where we don't fit conveniently. I'm tired of the way things keep being shorthanded to mean something that isn't us. And I think one of the ways that you sort of fight that and kind of challenge it is by making sure that there are people out there who are willing to sort of take a stand and go, well, actually, there are other points of view. I get that public speaking is scary for some people. Like, I get that the idea of standing in front of a room full of people is agonizing. I, to a certain extent, don't have that. I think a lot of it as well. I spent a lot of time making music, gigging in front of people. I will pick a room of 2,000 strangers over, like, 10 family members any day. Because that's how it goes for me. You know, I'm super aware of how exposed I feel. And I think it's interesting because, you know, I obviously do this and me to you and you back, we're having a conversation and a chat about things I don't necessarily talk about day in, day out with my friends. Like sometimes it comes up, other times it doesn't. And so I just think particularly right now, we need more trans-masculine voices out there. We need more non-binary voices. We need more people who are there to speak out, to sort of say what's going on in our world and how we see it, because the nature of public speaking, take away this idea that, you know, I used to think that people were experts. I used to think if you were invited to do something, then you were an expert. And then I got invited to do stuff and I was like, well, if they'll have me, then they'll have just about anybody. And that's worth bearing in mind, that the people who get showcased and the people who get highlighted are the people who turn up. And that can be great, that can be terrible. It really depends on whether or not you agree with what they're saying. And I'll leave that side of it because that's, I think, a completely separate argument about freedom of speech. But if you don't turn up, then you don't get a say. And if you don't get a say, then your story doesn't get to be out there. And you don't get to then complain about the fact that your story isn't out there. I guess what I'm saying is that anybody can do it. And I've seen people do it. I've seen people who have really bad anxiety and who have, you know, really terrible issues around public speaking, who are exceptional public speakers because, you know, what they have to say is so valid and so important, and they're actually up there saying it. I think one of the things that's super important is that we need to get out of our heads this idea that it's going to be like high school again. You know, like that thing where if you just kind of trip over a word or whatever, then everybody's going to laugh. Like, they're not going to mock you. This isn't a group. Public speaking isn't like that. And people want to understand what you have to say, and they want to hear what you have to say. And I think going into things like that, understanding, makes it a lot easier. There are definitely things to be mindful of, other than being prepared to speak. Make sure that you know your facts and you know what you're talking about. I think also there has to be an awareness of, you know, I'll get invited to speak at stuff because because of the book and because I've done some stuff like that, and then sometimes people will invite me to speak at things where it's just not appropriate for me to speak at them. You know, I've been invited to speak at things where you think, well, it shouldn't be me that's there, and so I haven't done it. And I think you have to be mindful as a member of a minority group. I think we have to be aware of the fact that we should support anybody and everybody around. That goes for anything that you do. Opportunities that come, I don't think we need to worry about hoarding them. I definitely would love to have it where there are so many trans masc people out there that we just can't move for them and everybody's sick of the story. I would love for that to be a thing that happens. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I'm all for it if it is, and if there's anything I can do to kind of help people or that sort of stuff, then my ask boxes are always open. Like, come for me, and I will do what I can to help, because I think it's important and I think it matters, and I think it matters above and beyond my personal ego. I think it matters above and beyond making people famous. Like, I don't think of it as like a, you know, I'm not talking about like the shorthand of, oh, well, people want to get, you know, super well known. You're not going to get super well known. You're just going to turn up and you're probably going to get a lot of grief. There are a lot of downsides to being publicly out there. They are worth it. And I find that the best thing that's ever happened, and it happens every time I go speak to people, is they are completely disarmed, because whatever they thought they were going to be getting, they weren't. You know, they had an idea of when they said that a trans person was going to show up, what that trans person was going to look like and what they were going to sound like and what they were going to talk like, and then they got me. And that would be the same, because they would then get you. And that matters. And it matters to show this incredible, diverse experience that we're all going through. And in the hope of getting a little bit more understanding, because that's what it's about. It's not, you know, I know that apparently the big queer agenda is all about sowing the seeds of confusion for other people's gender. Like, it isn't. I don't care about cis people. I'm going to be real. Like, I think you're great individually. I think as a movement in society, you don't particularly need my help right now, so I'm just opting out of that one. And so just remember that if you turn up and speak at something, that could be like that one trans person in the crowd who hasn't come out, who is terrified. And I've had it, you know, people have come up afterwards and spoken to me about the fact that they want to come out, that they're thinking of coming out, and they're afraid, and they just wanted someone to talk to. And it's an amazing privilege that you're given. And I guess that's the other side of public speaking. Don't think of the fear. Think of the opportunity and think of the honour, and just be humble about it, because it's awe-inspiring to sit in a room of people. And, you know, I've had it where it's gone wrong. I've had it where microphones blown out. I've had it where we've just ended up being like, you know what, let's just sit with no technology. I don't need a speech. Let's just chat. And don't overestimate that. I think these things that we go through and the stuff that we know about, and, you know, at this point, as a group of people, the stuff that we're so aware of, other people aren't. They're not aware of them at all. And so be prepared, but also be prepared just to go in there and go, you know what, I'm going to tell you some stuff, and then let's just have some questions, and let's talk about this in a dialogue, and let's have this be not me preaching at you, but us talking together about something that's important. So, yeah, I mean, I love public speaking. I do. I always have done. I've always felt very comfortable and in control. I think maybe because I feel seen. And I feel seen in a way where I feel like I control what's happening. And it's worth it. So yeah, so me public speaking, I'm all for it. And if you're around in West Yorkshire on the 18th or 19th, I'll put a link. I don't have any information at the minute, but I will have. I'll put a link down below. My Twitter, I keep that updated just about between that and pictures of Miles. So yeah. Public speaking, what's holding you back if you're not doing it? Where are you doing it that you love doing it? What do you want to love to do it on? Tell me all these things. Sorry I'm late. I will be back on Friday, so you'll have a shorter amount of time between me and me. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Happy Labour Day, those of you in America. I hope you eat whatever holiday food. Do you have holiday food for Labour Day? I don't know, I'm not American. Anyway, have a lovely one, and I will speak to you soon. Bye!